me give you an example of why I think U.S. markets are very corrupt, okay? There were some preferred shares, Series A preferred shares, which was trading in an OTC market, okay? And those preferred shares represented ownership in some assets, oil and gas land in West Texas. They traded under the stock symbol MMTLP, okay? Now, those preferred shares were going to be spun out into a private company called Next Bridge Hydrocarbons. And hedge funds had about six months to close their short positions in MMTLP before the spin-out happened, right? Before it was going to be spun out into a private company. But it looks like FINRA conspired with the hedge funds to keep the short positions open. And this created a situation where there are now short positions in a private company. Okay? Now, let's not forget, a short position means that the security was sold before it was ever purchased, right? The seller intended to buy back the shares at a later time when the price is lower. At least that's the theory. Now, don't forget, short sellers sell something that they do not own, and this creates dilution. That dilution depresses share prices up until the shares are repurchased, right? Because they sold something they didn't own, so that they need to be purchased back, okay? So, when I say there are short positions open in a private company, right? Basically, a private company is a company that is not freely tradable on a public exchange, right? So when there are short positions open in a private company, that means that that private company shares have been counterfeited. Let me repeat. When there are short positions open in a private company, that basically means that the private company shares have essentially been counterfeited, okay? Now, what happened? FINRA, instead of, having the shorts close their positions, they pulled a U3 extraordinary event, halt. Okay, that stopped trading of all MMTLP shares before the shorts would have to close their positions, right? And this is what created the fraudulent counterfeit shares. A lot of people, 65,000 plus shareholders, had a lot of questions about this. There was a lot of concern about this. They wrote to their congressman, etc., right? They wrote to the SEC. They wrote to FINRA. They wrote to everyone. So something like 100 days later, FINRA writes an FAQ about it. They write an FAQ, okay? Oops. And their FAQ basically verified the existence of the short positions in a private company, okay? Here's what they should have done. What they should have done, right, was they should have instructed brokers of a corporate action that shorts have to close their positions by December 12th, 2022, right? And they should have informed brokers that on December 9th and 12th, all trading should be position close only, right? That means that longs, people who've purchased the shares, they can sell the shares to shorts because they've already purchased them. They purchased them a long time ago, right? Now, shorts, these are people who've sold things they do not own. They can close their positions, which means that they can buy back the shares because they've already sold them, right? They've sold something they didn't own. They can close their positions prior to December 12th, 2022. That would force shorts, and if they did not close their positions by December 12th of 2022, their positions would have been closed for them, force closed. And that would have forced reconciliation. That would have prevented any fraudulent counterfeit shares from coming into existence, right? They would have reconciled the shares. But they didn't do that. Instead, they did this U3 extraordinary event halt, okay? So it certainly looks to me like FINRA may have conspired with hedge funds to keep the short positions open into the spin out of a private company, right? And don't forget, a short position in a private company is equal to a fraudulent counterfeit shares. So FINRA may have conspired with hedge funds to create fraudulent counterfeit shares, okay? And, FINRA is a self-regulatory agency. They were empowered by Congress. They report to the SEC, and their stated goal is to provide a resource for investors to feel confident about investing in U.S. markets, right? Instead, it looks like they're working with certain hedge funds to enable counterfeiting of U.S. stocks and fleecing investors. So that's why I think U.S. markets are corrupt,